Hey guys, what's going on? John here from What's Spinning, here tonight to chat about this new No Age album, Goons Be Gone. No Age are an LA-based punk rock, art punk, whatever you want to call it, duo. They've been around for years, but in their early days, I sort of was up in the air on these guys. People I feel like were starting to really hype them up around the time of their Weirdo Rippers compilation, and to be honest, I never really got it. I've listened to plenty of very noisy, very intense garage-based duos in my day, but this compilation seemed a little amateurish to me. There was a side to No Age that interested me, their artsy side. That kind of really won me over in the end. Their brief forays on this compilation into the likes of shoegaze and electronic music kind of made me feel like No Age had more than meets the eye. Now, I'll be honest, 2008's Nouns, an album that people in the art punk world consider a modern classic, it took me a really long time to really wrap my head around this album, really enjoy it over the years. But once I did get it, it is just nothing short of a wild, hazy blend of everything in art punk and garage rock right now. And it really is right on the money. 2010's everything in between I actually even liked better. While not as wild and hazy, it was much more structured, punchy, and catchy. Then around the time of their An Object album, I just really remembered everything that I once was up in the air on these guys. This album is not easy to get into at all. The energy that they brought forth was commendable. However, everything else about this album was just plain ugly. Now, their last album, 2018 Snares Like a Haircut, I thought was pretty good, actually. I thought it was a decent return to form and showed that No Age could still write a pretty good single. However, with these new singles for this new album, Goons Be Gone, I've been perplexed. No Age sound completely out of ideas and honestly just don't sound very inspired at the moment. Let's chat about this thing. Now, I'll be honest, Sandalwood is actually a pretty convincing start. It's a little lo-fi, a little back to basics, but no matter how muddy this track gets, No Age at least sound like they're having fun. It's pretty anthemic. But as much as I do love this track, there are some red flags here for me. It's a little stiff for my liking. But No Age even take the stiffness of this track and make this sort of sound like a throwback proto-punk anthem. It actually works very well. And as far as their more artsy side, as far as their No Age sound goes, Smoothie might be the best track here. I love the way that this track is ushered in. I love the way it just starts by bubbling under the surface and then exploding. But overall, this isn't the kind of track that I usually imagine hearing from No Age, but it's a very interesting new sound. It's sort of murky and hypnotic and a little dark. But it's also a great experiment in tension. You just really never know when this track is going to explode. It's something new and fresh from the band, and I applaud that. So while yes, I did have my reservations at first, when No Age are on, man, they could still write some serious tracks that really rip. I do think that War Dance is probably the best track here. As a matter of fact, I think this track is good enough to stand toe-to-toe with their early material. It's very wild, it's very in-the-moment sounding. This sounds like the art school punks via their garage that really caught my ear in their early days. It's so simple, yet very anthemic and incredibly memorable. And Turn to String is honestly one of the best surprises on this album. I mean, there's some serious garbage on this album, but then I hear a track like this. Not only is this just a great No Age track, I feel like this just overall is just a really fine-tuned rock track that's oddly timeless. It's just so simple, so obvious, but also incredibly catchy. Once again, I think this track can go toe-to-toe with any of their early stuff. Oh boy, but a lot of this album should have probably stayed on the shelf. Early on, the album feeler just rolls in, and I don't know why this just has to be so muddy and compressed sounding. It's not even done in a sort of left field experimental kind of way. This just sounds odd. And when this track does eventually pick up, it just sounds like a very watered down, very phoned in track that you would have heard on like their last album. It's catchy, but it's just more than anything really frustrating. Not only that, but I feel like this sounds like you literally had to pull teeth from No Age to get this sound. Some of the interludes here are absolutely awful. Working Stiff Takes a Break is half-baked and phoned in to the max. And Toes in the Water, there is nothing artsy about this track. There is nothing sort of mysterious or anything like that going on here. This sounds like it was thrown together in 5 minutes. A track like this used to help me transcend, not help me take a nap. And also, once again, the production here is not artsy or left field or experimental. It's just ugly. And the final stretch of this album is one of the oddest stretches of No Age's entire career. Aside Clicks is one of the biggest toss-ups here. I do like the sort of hazy and very chaotic atmosphere on this track, but so much of this track is once again very phoned in sounding, and I can tell you right now, No Age don't sound like they have any interest in starting or finishing an idea here. I feel like it's like pulling teeth hearing the track like this. And the scuzzy production and bland songwriting aren't doing much for me either. Now, the meditative riff and the chaotic drumming is something I could get into, but the rest of this track should have been shelved. Puzzled at first really kind of threw me off with this kind of very below average introduction, but it does shape up nicely. When all these gimmicks and bells and whistles are lifted from No Age, I'm actually shocked by how decent of a track they could still write. This one is pretty exciting. I don't even mind that it's one of the longest tracks here. It's great. Plus, this is just might be me, but it takes me to a very simpler time with No Age, where I was just getting introduced to this guy's sounds. Even the final minute of studio trickery and sound play just takes me back to a simpler time. Head Sport Full Face, though, is depressing. I mean, from about a mile away, this sounds like a No Age track, but that's about it. These vocals may just be my least favorite here. It's sort of artsy, yes, but there is no endgame in sight. There just seems to be no real structure to this. And Agitating Moss as a finale, just because this couldn't be more of a mixed bag of an album, this actually might be the best track here. This one is a genuine anthem, full of life, full of energy. I mean, it's No Age by the books, but after this mixed bag of garbage, honestly, this excites the hell out of me. That's an issue, though. So yeah, overall, this album is not an easy listen for a guy that considers himself a dude that enjoyed No Age for a long time, actually. A lot of this album just seems like No Age are phoning it in, or we really have to pull teeth to just get them to write an anthem like they used to. A lot of this album just shows No Age trying to get back to basics and bring in these artsy elements, but just flopping completely. They just seem lost and honestly just sound uninspired right now. I'm feeling a decent 6 on this album, but let me know what you guys think down below. If you liked the video, be sure to give us a like, give us a subscribe, and let me know down below what you would like for me to chat about in the future. And until next time, have a great day, guys.